4-star characters suck. At least, that's what we're led to believe with the influx of underwhelming 4-star characters. Sure, they can get the job done with massive investment, but they just can't stack up to their 5-star counterparts. I mean, it's normal for a 5-star to be superior, but should the gap be as wide as Cloran's thighs around this robot's head? Wait, that's actually not a big gap. I normally write off 4-stars as they are just weaker versions or just plain inferior in power when it comes to the good 4-stars. Those being Zhangling, Bennett, Xingqiu, and Fischl. There are a few 4-stars that I'd love to use, like Lynette, but I'm simply lacking the constellations to make proper use of them. There are even 4-stars that are used in many cases that do a great job. The power scaling of 4-stars is so varied that it's hard to know if the next 4-star is a gem or just another hidden 3-star in the game. At C6, most 4-stars become very usable in niche settings, and even mainstream. However, the most recent 4-star brings niche to a new level. And while normally I'd say that's a bad thing, this is actually a very good thing. Chevreuse is a very unique 4-star who unlocks massive power at just C0. It's kind of insane the power level of this C0 character, and she gets all the more powerful at C6. She is in the hyper buffer category of 4-stars along with Faruzan, Goro, Mika, and Sara, where at C6, they grant tremendous power. They're able to buff the main damage dealer by 40 to 60%, and that is huge. The problem with these characters is that at C0, they seem somewhat unusable. While Goro and Mika are functional, Sara and Faruzan require so much investment to be worth using. Chevreuse doesn't have this issue. At C0, she gives 40% resistance shred for Electro and Pyro, as well as 40% attack to those characters. This is massive for a 4-star. She's already better than Kazuha because no double swirls are needed, you just proc a single overload, fire your E, and you get big damage. At C0, she doesn't have any cooldown issues as well. She doesn't have energy problems. Her healing does leave a lot to be desired, but it's still very functional with amazing uptime. All of this is great, except she's really niche. Overload is one of the worst reactions in the game, but I actually do enjoy it. The downside with Chevreuse is that you have to have Pyro and Electro characters in order to make better use of her. You don't want to use it much against mobs because they will fly about, but with characters like Yoimiya, it's not much of an issue because she's long range. Raiden also has pretty massive range with a burst as well as Dia, so catching enemies isn't that much of an issue. But where this playstyle shines is against tanky enemies and bosses. The last complete C0 4-star to be released was Yao Yao, or maybe Kirara, but Denjo carries them. I guess Fremine too, but he's a physical main carry, so that already has a plethora of issues. As crazy as that is, her constellations just make her even more insane. Her C1 makes her an amazing battery, recovering 6 energy to the active character who triggers overload, and her C2 adds a bit of damage. If you build Chevreuse right and balance her damage and buffing capabilities, that can actually be pretty amazing. Her C4 lets her fire off 2 enhanced Ds, which can be pretty fun. And then the massive upgrade of C6. 60%, mind you, I said 60% Electro and Pyro damage, as well as enhanced healing. It's tied to a skill, no burst required, no double swirl setups. What? Albeit, the uptime is slightly lower because you need 3 healing ticks to take advantage of the full buff, but you will have a massive boost for the majority of the buff. Now, I like the direction of niche 4-stars, but they should definitely be on the level of C0 5-star characters, and they should be even a little bit better once they unlock their C6, because we all know how incredibly difficult it is to get a C6 4-star character. Many of the 4-stars are still mediocre, especially at C6, but Chevreuse really takes the cake of the best 4-star of the year. Wait, the year just started? Oh well. I wish that Genshin had a more consistent basis on the power level of 4-stars because it's just, honestly, all over the place. The early 4-stars are obviously the very generalistic characters, but they are just too good. To keep up with them, the current 4-stars need to be C6, and that in itself is a major problem. You are going to get at least 2 to 5 5-star characters by the time you get a single C6 4-star. That is just insane, and my wallet cannot handle it. Either way, Chevreuse is an amazing unit, and I hope they keep releasing characters like her that function at C0 to not pressure you into pulling for high constellations. For those of you who are trying to pull for Chevreuse and want Raiden and Yoimiya, good luck. For those of you who are on the fence or wanting to save your pulls for future characters, do not pull. A friend of mine pulled 90 times and didn't get a single Chevreuse. Another friend of mine is on his 40th pull. The 4-star rates are not worth it. So stay strong and keep hopeful that she'll be rerunning with one of your favorite characters, like Chlorand in the future. That is where I think she'll truly shine in a true Overload team. Also, this spark effect is so damn cool. Speaking of which, it'd be pretty amazing if you liked this video. If you've made it this far, you must have enjoyed it, right? Consider subscribing as well if you enjoyed my content. Until next time, Enigma out.